Okay, we're gonna create something a little absurd actually, and starting to think this whole series is more about more like a a game experiment rather than an actual game. We're gonna spawn some blocks, okay, and you, let's see what you come up with. Be creative, and I'll just teach you how to spawn them, and you could play around with the code and make them spawn and put them in different places and stuff. So let's just get right to it. So in this cube here, if we push the play mode, that cube's just going to stay up in the sky, right? And so let's go ahead and give it some physics. So what we're going to do is over here we can add a component, and I'm going to try to move these up so you could see in the video. When I hit add component, we're going to look for physics, and we're going to add a rigid body. So now let's see what happens. It gives it gravity and stuff. So when we hit play, it falls to the ground. Okay, cool. So now let's take this cube and drag it into our assets folder. And that does some cool magic to it. And we're going to change the name of it. Whoops, I didn't mean to double click that. I'm going to try to just click into the name and change it. We're going to call this block stone. How about that? Okay. And now what we're going to do is write a little script so that when you click the screen, it actually produces one of these from the assets folder. So what you're going to do is you're going to right click and say create new C# script. Okay, after you do that, you're going to go ahead and give it a name. Now I've already done that, so I'm going to delete this one here. I've already done that with this one here, and I named it spawner. Okay, so you could double click it to open it up in your, or open it or show and explore, and then open it with your tool of choice. I think in our computer lab we have Adobe Dreamweaver for you guys to edit with. Mine opens up with Visual Studio Code. And so what you're going to want to do is go ahead, and now this can look a lot of different ways. Okay, so here's your name of your class, and then you're going to notice this line right here, public game object block. And what that's going to do is it's going to actually make something available to us in the inspector. We're going to have to, and it'll produce a little slot where we can drag our new stone block into that slot. And so this name here, block, we refer to it later down here. And basically right here in the update, it's checking, an update function is checking every single frame. Every time, every 60 frames a second, it's checking for this. And in Unity, they say when the fire button is clicked, and that's in our setup, it's the mouse click. So that's built into Unity. It's going to look for this block. We haven't described the block yet. And it's going to instantiate a block, and where is it going to put it? It's going to actually put it right at the transform. So Unity talks about, it's got 3 coordinates, X, Y, and Z, and it's the transform. It's going to be at Steve's X position, his Y position +5, so up in the sky right above his head, and then at his Z position. So what we do now is after you save this, and you are then to take the Steve object and drag this spawner script onto Steve in the inspector. Now watch what happens. It has this little block slot here. And so now what we do is we drag our stone into this slot. And so now the code is looking for this as the block. So in the code it talks about a block, and that's the block it's talking about. So when we hit play now and we click the fire button, it spawns a block. And look at that, it's spawning right on top of our head. And that is why I'm describing this as more of an experiment than a game. It's quite silly. You could actually land on the blocks, and you could probably just see what creations you can make. And so you could, make better controls and actually control where these blocks get spawned. You could actually give them velocity, and they'll go firing out. So you could look up scripts on the internet for that. But I just wanted you to have some fun making things appear on screen. And Yeah, have fun with that. You could actually script these blocks so that when you click on them, they explode or disappear, whatever. Okay, so go ahead and have fun instantiating blocks. Let's see how many we can stack up on his head. All right, have fun.